Yeah, Cinder, a remix of Dark Souls 3 by Rotaka. We know what that song means, of course, but does anybody else? I am forced to ponder.
I mean, 113. Come on.
Not quite 113, I don't think. Not for this particular one, right?
No, but most.
A majority, for sure. A plurality of episodes have certainly had that as an opener, but for good reason. It's a good song.
It
Like,
is.
why wouldn't we use it?
So the song means that we forgot yet again to choose a new one.
Yeah, that's true enough.
Had that conversation as soon as it started. I was like, shit. Now 4 months in a row.
Yeah, did we talk about it 4 months ago already? Oh man, that does sound like us, though.
Yeah.
Well, welcome everybody. I'm MrBond.
And I'm Tormod.
This is Insert Credits. This is a video game podcast in 3 major parts. We talk about some news first, then we listen to some music, like you just heard in our opener. Then we talk about what we've been playing since last time, more tunes, and then we do some design at the end. All unscripted, very live. We roll some random stuff and we try to make a game out of it. So that's been serving us pretty well, I think, for at least a year now, I want to say.
Oh, yeah. At least.
I don't know exactly how long, but it's been going good, and we see no reason to change that.
Shoutouts to letsmakeagame.net.
For all of your game idea generation needs.
You know, I just realized, though, it's been many years since we've done shoutouts at the beginning of the stream.
That is true. That is something that cycled out, several years ago, probably, I'm sure. But if we have something to shout out, I mean, by all means, shout out if you'd like.
Letsmakeagame.net.
There
Sounds
we go.
Great.
Not sponsored by letsmakeagame.net.
And many various friends and creatures who are here tonight. So thank you all
Very
for joining
good.
us.
Yes. Hello and welcome, everybody. If this is your first time, hello and welcome. If this is not your first time, hello and welcome, and thank you for returning.
We didn't scare you off yet.
We did not. Give it time. Give it time. You'll learn the error of your ways. Housekeeping. Our next shows. We've got our next 2 shows scheduled out.
Sure do.
August for round 114. It looks like the 18th. I presume that's still okay, unless something has happened between then.
I believe that is fine.
All right, and then 115 looks like for September the 15th. Haha. Very appropriate.
Halfway through the month, actually.
Yeah. Is that one of the 30?
Mm-hmm.
September. Yes, it is. Okay.
Which then, because the 30th is on a Saturday, that means we have a Friday the 13th.
It sure does. I think by law we are required to do, 116 then?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, that makes the decision easy.
Oh, yes.
Good. And it's in October, the spookiest of months, so...
And the best of months.
And the
Let's
best.
be real.
Well, I don't know about the best, but it's up there. It's definitely not the worst. That honor goes to December and or January and or February. Because fuck winter.
Halfway there.
Yeah. Quiet. Damn it. We just started summer. Can we please enjoy the weather for a bit? If it's not air quality alerts up the ass or 100 degrees or whatever. Like, just not anyway.
Okay, so it's been weird here. So obviously we've been getting all of the Canadian wildfire smoke because it just has descended upon Wisconsin and not moved for weeks, months.
Thank you, Jetstream. That's very kind of you. Go away now.
It's also been a very strange July.
Yeah, that is true.
It's been unseasonably cool a couple times for us. And of course, it's been very dry. Welcome to everything on fire. But it's just been kind of a weird year so far.
Yeah, June was definitely very beastly warm for many days. Even the end of May was kind of very warm. And now July has started sort of below average.
Which I'm fine with.
Which has been okay.
Yeah.
Like, mid to upper 70s is still great.
Yeah.
More of that, please. But anyways, housekeeping. We've gone out to 3 rounds now, 114, 115, 116. That's enough. Because time is a flat circle, and we do not need to tempt it any further. Any other housekeeping? Otherwise, we can roll into some news here.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Exciting stuff. Well, I don't know about exciting, but definitely news. Valve has sort of taken a stand on this whole generative AI content stuff by coming down reasonably hard on not allowing games that use generative AI trained on copyrighted content.
Ding, 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 ding.
I know, right? Thank you. Finally, somebody
finally.
is being somewhat intelligent about this.
I have something vaguely related to this to talk about after this piece.
All right, and that's more or less it. There are a couple that are very clear that they use generative AI in some way, shape, form, whatever, in their game. But so far as I know, anecdotally, from those isolated cases, it's their own stuff that they're using in those particular models. So that doesn't necessarily fall afoul of the copyrighted content being used to train a model type thing, because it's their own shit. Like, they can do whatever.
Fine.
Which is cool. Like, whatever, you do what you need to do with that, I suppose. But having now a platform say, hey, you can't steal shit and pass it off as your own and expect to make a buck on our platform here. Good job, Valve.
That's like the lazy version of an asset flip.
I know, right? Like you can't even you can't even buy the shit first and then flip it. No, you gotta whatever.
So have they like removed games?
That is a good question. I believe there was one somewhat prominent one that was, again, very clear about it using generative AI, but they weren't very clear about where it was trained on, and it was kind of, a little suspect from the get-go. So finally Val was just like, yeah, no, you don't get to do that.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah, it's
good times.
It's a good step. It's a good step for sure.
Okay.
Okay, so then your relevant bit to this particular piece then?
Okay, so related to AI and creating content. So you know how like there have been these videos that have been floating around of deepfakes and whatnot. So enterprising people in the modding community have started training models on famous voice actors and then making them say disgusting things.
Gee, what a shock.
So one big one was a very not safe for work mod for Skyrim. And yeah, that sparked up quite the debate because it got very popular. Somehow. I can't wait for a new port of Skyrim. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Ben Diskin got involved and a bunch of other rather famous voice actors and actresses very much against this whole thing, given that's basically their asset.
Yeah.
And they're starting to have the conversation where they're clearly saying, we don't consent to this. We will sue. And I hope it happens. It needs to happen. Otherwise, it's going to keep going unrained. And holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, connecting to the world outside of video games, if there is such a world, I have no idea. I mean, SAG-AFTRA has called for a writer's strike, and now some actual actors and actresses are getting involved in it too, because the studios are trying to be like, hey, we want to scan you, here's your pay for one day, and bye-bye, we'll use your scan for everything else for generative content. And that's like, no, you don't get to do that.
Yeah.
Like, fuck that noise, get out of here. Yep. But yeah, so SAG-AFTRA is, I believe, starting the strike either tomorrow or today, or it's very recent, just in the news this week, in fact.
Good.
And now some other actors guilds are getting involved too, so it's like, okay, well, let's do this. Let's get this rolling here and cut this shit out, because it's awful. Don't do this.
So like, I have lived through some very major strikes that have happened in industries years past now. The older I get, the more I realize there's no industry that can't be ground to a sudden halt, and entertainment is one big one. So do it.
Time to halt those wheels real hard here until people stop being fucking idiots.
Oh yeah.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's not directly related to the video games, but the whole Skyrim mod voice acting business is a good enough tie to bring that stuff up.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so got a bunch of legal stuff coming up here. This is always kind of interesting to me, just because we like to talk about releases and all the cool things that are coming out. But it's actually really interesting to see the legal landscape change, especially when the big titans start fighting. So let's talk about Call of Duty and their anti-cheat schemes.
Okay.
Anti-cheat has always been an arms race, right? Companies, publishers, de nouveau, do whatever they can to stop people from modding games, cheating in games, affecting online communities as a whole. Interesting in Call of Duty now, they were, rather widely reported on as some of the leading kind of interesting techniques for anti-cheat, like putting all the cheaters together, making other players invisible to the known or suspected cheating players and all that. Their next step here now is to make clones of real players in the game and showing them only to the cheating players as either an active measurement or an active measure to prevent them from cheating, and also to kind of pretty positively identify who is cheating, because they would be seen from legitimate players as, firing and reacting to nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. I kind of like that a lot.
Okay. See, I thought that was going to go the other way around, where the cheaters have started finding text to live clone another player.
No.
Okay.
This is the anti-cheat measure to
good. Okay.
To use the information of other real players within the match that they're playing to clone another player essentially, and then drop them in front of the cheating players and be like, yeah, okay, well, what are you shooting at, buddy? I mean, that's not a real player. How would you know if yeah. Yeah. So that's wild. That was an interesting piece of anti-cheat tech I've seen floating around now.
Okay.
So good stuff. Like keep up that work. That's fun and cool. Because if you're cheating on online matches and stuff, and generally making shit miserable for other people, fuck you. Like, there's no reason to do that. If you want to, do a single player game or a private server or whatever, and cheat and mod and whatever, go for it. Like, whatever, have fun. But don't shit up the experience for everybody else. That's not cool. All right, so now, actual legal stuff now. We talked last month, yet again, about this whole Microsoft acquiring Activision Blizzard thing. The story so far, the most recent iteration so far, has been that the FTC, our Federal Trade Commission over here in the States, filed for a preliminary injunction to stop the acquisition, at least temporary injunction. Now, what has happened is that a federal judge has denied that injunction, and the FTC has now stated that they will appeal that denial. So this keeps rolling. This keeps providing news for this 68-69 billion dollar acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Billion with a B.
Not nice.
Not nice, no. That's a lot of damn money. Way more money than any individual will probably ever know, except for a select few who are assholes. But yeah, so that story is far from resolving, and I'm sure we'll have a little bit more to talk about next month even. Another legal story that has come back, or never really finished, I suppose. Remember Epic Games versus Apple? The whole App Store debacle and third-party payment providers and whatever. Apple is mulling over putting that up to the United States Supreme Court. Since they apparently are not pleased with the most recent judgment, which I believe was fairly evenly split between siding with Epic Games and siding with Apple. Somebody won on some cases and somebody won on the other cases. So now looks like that's headed to the top courts over here stateside. So that persists. That one is not closed at all yet either.
That's something I legitimately have not thought about since the last time we spoke about it.
Yeah.
And that was at least a year.
It's been pretty quiet on that front, I think, and now suddenly this is back and persisting and keeping going. So I don't know if I want to keep talking about it, but hey, until it gets resolved, it's still pretty relevant.
There's a lot of interesting things that have happened with Apple since then, though. The EU. So, USB-C coming to iPhone. It's already on iPad. It's already used, Thunderbolt 4, fine, but it's the USB-C connector that's shared with that. Every Mac laptop now, any of those Thunderbolt 4/USB-C ports, you can charge with. Fantastic.
It is pretty nice.
Now, I've heard that they are starting to go down the path of forcing Apple to make their batteries user serviceable as well. So I would love the renaissance of phones you can take apart.
The re-renaissance, because we used to have that.
Right. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
Vaguely related to Apple and consumer friendliness and whatnot. So
2025, I believe, was the deadline for that stuff, for the replaceable batteries.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I only just read about that like earlier today.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a recent article, recent news about that.
Well, I hope it happens.
Yeah. So do I. Like, EU, please continue to press this stuff, because eventually that bubble's over here across the pond. So
yes.
Sorry to make you do all the work, EU. But our system is fucked. So
thank you for caring about your people.
Yes.
Because it makes other people care about our people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We're trying. We really are. I'm sorry, but we can't. We can't right now. Okay, that's all the news I had. There's a couple legal things in there which are interesting to bring up month to month, but we'll have updates next time.
Seems good. All right, so on for the rest of my actual news, and then I will bitch. Okay, so Final Fantasy 16. It's kind of made me realize that I just have not been paying attention to game launches or the hype around them for at least 3 or 4 years now. Like, the only game that I've really been excited for recently has been Tears of the Kingdom, and rightfully so. That continues to be one hell of a banger. FF16, I think I watched a trailer once, and I was like, oh, cool. Eidolons, or summons, or espers, or whatever they are now.
I see.
They're back! Hooray! That's what they do. The only other thing that I've heard about this so far is that it is a much darker story. And with the level of political intrigue and how sword and sorcery it reminded people of FF12, which I really liked. I thought the story in that game was actually fairly good. So that's kind of neat.
Because FF13 was the online one.
No, FF11 was online. 12 was on console.
Okay.
That had the weird, like, Gambit system where you could do conditional programming.
Right.
13 was Hallway Simulator.
Oh, okay.
14 was the other online game that continues to be
14.
super popular.
And then 15 was the quest for the ultimate road trip.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm glad that somebody who's actually looked at gameplay is here to talk about it. So thank you, Choya. I'm interested in this only from the perspective of I don't have to play it on a PlayStation, allegedly soon. There is a PC release that is being presently worked on. So says the director of the series, which it's not the series. I'm sorry, it's just the game itself. Naoki Yoshida went on record saying, yes, we're working on the PC release. It needs a lot more time. Sorry.
Was it intended to be PC and console at launch and they just couldn't do it? Or was it the traditional 1 year on console, blah, 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 and then we'll see?
So it's frustrating. Ever since FF15, there's been usually 1 year of PlayStation exclusivity before they can do anything with any other platform, I guess we'll say. I don't know if that's necessarily the case here. I don't know if it's you have to wait a year to release it, or they just don't have it ready yet. Which, honestly, FF16 releasing on PlayStation kind of took me by surprise. Like, I didn't think it was happening so soon. It's basically out. I am very incredibly interested, but, like, it just snuck up on me. Like, I, again, have not been paying attention to, like, the actual announcements for things. I haven't really been watching Nintendo Directs closely or anything like that. It's just been, like, I've been way too inundated, and I'm getting old. I'm Grandpa Gamer now. God damn it. I'm gay dead. Like...
Okay, millennial.
Right? So... I was taken by surprise for 16. I am actually quite looking forward to it because FF12 was so good for me. But speaking of, I'm looking forward to going and finishing my run of FF15. It's okay. Let's talk about PC releases of Final Fantasy games real quick. FF15 at launch was actually pretty okay. I had a couple extremely entertaining bugs, like falling through the world and having it crash but not actually stop the game engine and things like that.
Oh, okay.
That was actually really cool. I love that shit. That's why I got into games. I was exposed to the game Genie when growing up, and I would just fuck with shit. and it was the most entertaining thing ever. And because of that, and the Game Genie codebook having the most codes for Final Fantasy III Super Nintendo, that's how I got into Final Fantasy. So, hooray! Bring it all back around again. But I did not play that game for like 3 or 4 years because, oops, it fell off my radar like any big JRPG, basically. Like, I just forget and stop playing. So I installed it again on a machine that was much less. So I had a 3090, I think. I sold it to Eon.
Sounds right. Yeah.
And I was just like ripping through the game because it's a 3090. It was great at the time. Then I stopped playing. So come the time that we moved back to the Madison area, I installed it again on our living room PC because now we have a projector in our living room, and that is fantastic. It is so nice for just casually watching shit or playing games. I'm very casual these days. So I installed it. This machine has a 2080 Ti with an external radiator because it was meant to be a media PC case, and then, oops, the card's huge, and we literally routed the radiator to the... yeah, anyway, it's really cool, actually. 2080 Ti, definitely not nearly the same caliber as the 3090. It ran better. I installed the game. I jacked up everything I could to the highest settings possible, playing it on 4K 60, because that's all the projector can do. I was playing it at flat 60. They've optimized that game so much in the last few years of patches. Like, holy shit! It's not just the move to Windows 11, and I'm sure that did have something to do with it. New APIs, being a little leaner.
Sure.
But I am flabbergasted at how good it performs now. Like, before I would usually have to, like, turn certain things off or definitely turn the shadow quality down. No, everything was turned up, max. And I was just... I don't even know. In terms of gaming and the optimizations that they've done to allow quicker hardware access on Windows 11 versus 10, that does seem to be making a notable difference. I'm not 100% sure of what all of the tech is, but I've noticed that going between Windows 10 22H2 and Windows 11 22H2, that there is a marked difference. At least for what I use with the same drivers and things like that. I'm also extremely casual. So I'm not streaming every day like I used to. I'm not playing demanding games while I'm trying to encode, that kind of thing.
You're not measuring minimum frame times and all that. And...
You know, okay.
Oh, no.
So, actually related to Final Fantasy 15, I had a Threadripper at one point, and I was trying to benchmark, like, what's the best way to capture for this game? Because I was trying to have a low bit rate so that it would be more accessible for other people to watch. So I was comparing NVENC and X264 and things like that. And I was doing benchmarking, and I was doing side-by-side quality testing, looking at my frame dips in the game, that kind of thing. And it was really something that you had to decide what you cared more about. Like, I wanted the visual fidelity because it's like, I have this nice graphics card, I have a 4K display, I want to play it in 4K. I still want to be able to show people what I'm doing. So, of course, if you're doing a display capture, it's a little easier because it can just do the downsampling in GPU land, and cool, great. But everything's a little weird when you're processor constrained. So trying to do all of this gaming stuff and encoding and downscaling and putting it up on Twitch and whatnot, that's not very multi-thread optimized. And the Threadripper is good of a CPU as it is for workstation stuff.
Very multi-thread.
It is, yeah, and like its multimedia capabilities were lacking based or compared to whatever current gen Ryzen processors were out at the time. So I was kind of frustrated back then. Like, I stopped streaming it at some point. I was delighted by the bugs and catching all of those things that I clipped on Twitch. Please go out to my Twitch, Tormod Wolf, and look at some of the shit that I posted there from FF15. It's fucking hilarious. Anyway, just being able to play the game with a 2080 Ti and not have it get above like 65 degrees and it was flat 60 the whole time for frame rate, they've done so much. And I'm really, really hoping that FF16 on PC can see similar improvements from the get-go. We have a lot more capable hardware now. We're talking a difference of, God, that game.
When did 15 come out?
I think
It's
15
at least 3
released.
years, right?
No, it's been much
No?
longer. I think
Really?
it's been since
Oh, shit.
2015.
What?
I think so for the PC release.
Seriously?
I could be wrong.
Okay.
Let me actually look it up real quick.
Yeah, we do have this font of human knowledge here.
PC release date. I want to say it was 2015.
I didn't think it
It's
was
2016.
that old.
I'm sorry.
Oh, jeez, even so.
So it's
gosh.
been 7 years almost.
My goodness.
And
It's
for Windows
wild.
it was in 2018. Okay, but still,
That makes
like
a little bit more sense.
that's
I think, but even
5
still.
years, and they have dramatically improved the performance.
I am impressed that they had such restraint before releasing FF16. I figured those were going close to like the yearly sports releases by now. Maybe not.
No, not really. FF games have usually been a minimum of like 3 or 4 years apart. At least since the PlayStation era, I think. Okay, let me think here.
Wasn't the online one kind of an oddball though, or that one came out very quickly, and then the next mainline one came out pretty quickly after that? I could be just misremembering entirely, but
Whatever. Like, time is fucked.
yeah, it's an illusion. Don't worry about it.
In any case, bringing it back, FF16, now that it's been in the news and like it's in front of me now, like, oh god, Reddit's talking about it. People on Discord servers are talking about it. Like, people are linking media. I'm starting to see it because it's imminently releasing. It looks really good. I am very excited for that kind of story because I liked the intrigue part of FF12. And if they do release it on PC and it's well optimized, you bet your shit I'm going to play that game and I'm probably going to stream it. I keep saying that, but I still have yet to finish Octopath Traveler, FF15, FF12, so on and so forth. But I want to. So let me actually talk about what's going on with streaming. So we've moved a lot. So since mid-2020, we've had 3 major, literally sell the house and move types of moves, mostly because of work, also mostly because of the political climate and things like that. It sucked. It was during COVID. It has left us burned out. And I wasn't able to do a whole lot of streaming during that time. I was actually doing pretty okay at that when we were in Tennessee. It was the first move that we had since leaving Wisconsin in 2020. I was streaming Super Animal Royale. I was doing some JRPGs and things like that. But as soon as I left there, it basically died. And I was able to get through Final Fantasy Pixel Remasters 1 through 5. That was cool. But I just hadn't been able to since. So I was trying to get my stream PC prepped for getting back to streaming and whatnot. I finally got my office together. The signal routing is good. I had the PC on after fresh installing macOS because it's a Hackintosh and Windows 11, and went upstairs to grab something, and I came downstairs and the PC fans were running at 100% and it was unresponsive. Okay. I turned it off, tried to turn it back on. It clicked off after a quarter second. I kept trying. It kept doing that. It was in the middle of my work day, and I was using the PC to work because it was one of my work from home days. So I ripped it out of the rack, which is just a great time with all of the cables that are plugged into the damn thing. Could find nothing wrong. I started removing RAM one by one and all of the peripherals, and everything was out of it and was still doing it. And I couldn't figure it out. So I thought it was a power supply issue. So I replaced the power supply. It still did it. After hemming and hawing, because my logic at this point was X570 is the end of AM4. That's where I'm at. It doesn't make sense to buy more AM4 stuff. It's time to move. So I was not looking to upgrade, but I ended up going to the X670E chipset and the 7950X3D. And I realized this is one generation apart. Like, literally, it's the best chipset from AM4, the best present chipset from AM5. Holy shit! Like, the performance lift on that is ridiculous. I was not expecting that. The heavy decrease in latency from everything, disk access, loading shit into RAM, everything is ridiculously faster. I just was not expecting that. And I'm actually kind of excited now because I want to play games that were formerly CPU bound. And I really want to see what the encoder can do these days. So I have a Radeon, what the hell are they called these days?
7900 XTX.
But I mean like the series name. I know it's like Navi 2, but like
shit,
whatever.
Ridna 3s.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Sounds right.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so I have a 6900 XT.
Okay.
And I'm sticking with that card because it is one of the best cards that is still supported by Hackintosh. And I'm really curious how this works for streaming because the encoder for AMD is allegedly dog shit. However, I had basically decided against using NVENC on NVIDIA because X264 inside of OBS was such a strong performer. And I've also been made aware of H265 being a thing inside of OBS now. I didn't know. So yes. I'm very curious. I'm trying to get myself back up to being able to stream with this new hardware. I really want to try. I need to find some games that are actually going to tax the thing. I don't know if I can. I mean, a lot of the stuff I was dealing with before, minus the extreme end of FF15 where I was maxing out the VRAM and everything, like everything was pretty much CPU bound, and they were fantastic CPUs, but to do everything all at the same time is kind of hard for it. So I'm really curious. I am returning to streaming soon. I've been holding off on playing the Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster because I wanted people to see my genuine first reaction. That is a game I have not looked at all. I know it's my favorite game of all time on the Super Nintendo. People have told me that it's going to be worth my time, obviously. I want to be able to have the genuine first reaction on stream. That's the first game I'm coming back to. But I briefly want to go back to the hardware that died. It didn't die. I don't know. I am so confused. Okay. So Eon came over and helped me out. I was able to get parts overnighted on and receive them on July 3rd from Amazon. That was a whole thing. Took all of the peripherals out of the case, removed a couple of the radiators because they were big, put the new board in, got everything sandwiched in there, and after weird BIOS-y bullshit, because when doesn't AMD have weird AGE SA shit going on, I got it to be stable. A couple days later, my old build that I built with you, actually, my B85 Pro 4 with my Gen 4 i7, that board that Vlad had been using bit the dust. Completely. We couldn't get it to post no matter what we did.
Oh.
And we were like, well, that sucks. And after a night of failing anything, decided to stick the Crosshair 8 Hero in there for the lulz.
The presumably dead one that we have now found out is not dead.
Yeah, it booted. I was like, you motherfucker. Incredible. I just dropped like $1,200 on shit, and so that machine, when it was in my case, did not want to boot. Something was shorting. I have no idea what. There were no loose screws. Every bit of everything that I used on there was non-conductive, including the thermal paste. It was thermal grizzly cryonaut. I don't know. I have no idea. So we got the machine back together. Vlad's going to be using that one with my 980 Ti. That was unfortunate. I could not figure out why the machine wasn't booting to a screen I could see. That does not have a UEFI compatible BIOS on that graphics card. There was one released, but we didn't have it flashed to it. It took a little bit of time for me to figure out why I couldn't see video. So
wild. Okay.
We stuck what the hell was in there? A 1060 or something. We stuck a 1060 in and it booted fine, and we got everything set up. We know it's working. We've done all sorts of benchmarks on it, Prime 95, and everything is fine.
Okay.
So I guess Vlad got a free upgrade.
Ghosts, woo. I guess. I don't know.
So yeah, that all happened. I have no excuse now, really, though. Like, everything's set up. I just need to actually do the thing. I'm a little kind of distressed with my layouts being as old and samey as they have been for 5 years. I usually like to switch things up a little bit, but figuring that out. Hardware. What the fuck? Like, I'm a systems architect. This shit shouldn't happen, but it happens. And it happens more to be at home than it does at work. And that's really frustrating.
I don't know, man. I'm a software guy and I hate it.
I get it, but like I have more problems at home than I do at my job. And that's ridiculous. Okay. Nintendo stuff, real quick. Tears of the Kingdom, fantastic game. Go buy it. It's actually frequently on sale for $50
normal
$60
price
now. So neat. That's great. The modding community is understandably kind of huge for the game. Ever since an easy soft mod for the Switch became possible with the RCM jigs and whatnot, if you had a launch Switch, it's vulnerable on every firmware.
Oh, right. Because of the okay.
So there's a really neat mod out for Tears of the Kingdom that lets you play as Anthro-Wolf Link, and it actually looks really good. And we want it. It's absolutely furry bait. It's beautiful though. So we embarked on the process of figuring out how to do it. You got it. I'm glad for you. Figuring out how to do soft modding on the Switch, and my launch day Switch is of course vulnerable, and we plan to dump our own cartridge. We own the damn game. Don't come after me. So that we can go ahead and do the whole let's play it on PC thing with the mods and the stuff and the wah. So, very much looking forward to that. I am still shocked at how well that performs on the Switch. Like, they've done something to that engine between Batwa and Tears of the Kingdom. But it, even on handheld mode, doesn't dip too badly. I'm actually really impressed with what they've done with that hardware. So, I want to see it on an emulator without any core clock speed limitations. I just want to see it go. Please tell me it's good. I've looked at nothing outside of the demo footage for that mod. It is gorgeous. Anyway. Steam Summer Sale. That's going on right now. I've had no indication of that until like 2 days ago.
The Steam client has been curiously quiet about that. I've gotten a couple like emails here and there about something happening, but it's been less overbearing than usual, I feel, for their big sales.
Okay, so hear me out. I have purchased nothing. I have no intention of purchasing anything.
Okay.
However, the landing page for the Steam sale this summer is beautiful. They've done some wicked awesome pixel art. Honestly, like, I'm not even saying go buy games. Just go look at the art. It's really, really fucking cool. All right, finally the last thing. I did hear about something after the fact from a Nintendo Direct. Super Mario RPG is getting a remake.
Yeah.
I know nothing about it. I still haven't actually watched it. That was not what I was expecting.
I don't think many people are expecting. I've heard some mixed things about whether people want it and whether people don't. Because Super Mario RPG obviously ended life cycle SNES.
Yep.
Incredible collab between Squaresoft, not Squeenix, back when it was still Square, and Nintendo doing the whole thing, doing the whole RPG thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, do we really want to see what a remaster is? Because that game was already really good. Like, how are they gonna fuck it up? Type stuff. You know.
I have a theory. This is a make or break. This is, if you do it right, it will be huge. If you fuck it up, you're losing everybody who cares about you. I think, and I know this is me being delusional to myself, this could be the precursor of something like FF6. Because they have deliberately avoided doing any kind of actual remaster of that game so far. They've done 7 and above. They've done 5 and below.
That's true. Yeah, you're right.
So I think it's time. I really do hope that it works out. I never actually played the full game for Super Mario RPG, to be specific. I played through the first 4 hours of it. I never owned the game. It was very hard to find, and I didn't really get into emulation a whole lot until I was in college. You taught me what Chrono Trigger was. Like, I just didn't know. Like,
just wild. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of really solid games that I just wasn't exposed to, and that's one of them that I haven't gone through and actually finished. I very much admire the speedrunners who like have cracked the game. They have figured out the timings for everything. I think it's fantastic. It's very fun to watch.
Well, one, I would recommend you play it yourself.
Yes, of course.
Because it's an excellent game. The music's great, obviously, and that was the first real true Mario RPG, and since then they've had Mario Luigi series, Paper Mario, etc., etc. Which kind of brings around the concern of what they're going to do for this remaster now, because this isn't a new foray of Mario into anything really, because Super Mario RPG was the first step Mario into the RPG space.
Yep.
And they could do weird stuff with it, and
like make it isometric.
Yes, like make it isometric, and
that was beautiful.
And put Peach into the party. Spoilers.
I knew about that much at least. Yeah.
So I'm very curious what they're gonna do. I'm in the camp of let's see how it goes, and I'm not gonna hate them for trying, but I really liked Super Mario RPG the way it was, and if they fuck it up, that's a bummer. But oh well.
Yeah, I get you. I mean, I realize a lot of new property that's being announced and even released lately has been remasters and remakes. But I really do feel like, unlike, say, 5 or 6 years ago where they were really phoning it in, see every mobile release of Final Fantasy 1 through 6, garbage. I really think that everything they've done since, say, the remaster of FF10 has been actually really solid. It's giving an opportunity for people who haven't played the original IP to play it, and for those of us who have obviously nostalgia glasses for it, by and large, I feel like we've been pretty impressed. And I'm hopeful because Super Mario RPG is so big and everybody's nostalgia because it was the end of the SNES. The SNES was like the golden era of JRPGs. If they do it right, it's going to be fantastic. I'll just reiterate that. If they screw it up, it's going to be really, really upsetting because it's not going to give them as much confidence to go about something that's as pivotal as Final Fantasy VI. And I really, really want to see something done with FF6. Everybody cautions me every time I say that, like, they're going to fuck up your favorite game. I want to see them try. Like, not try to fuck it up. Like, I want to see their best effort at reimagining what they wanted that game to be, because it absolutely pushed the limits of the system. They wanted to do more with that story and make the game deeper, but they couldn't because of the limitations at the time. I'm one of those people where if you want to take the base property of a game and add to it, or even completely change it, if what you do with it is unique and interesting, I'm okay with that. I'm very okay with having new experiences with the things I love. So it's something I'm very excited for. Speaking of, apparently the Resident Evil 2 remake is going to be twice as large as the original game. Like, if they can manage to do something unique and interesting with that, absolutely. Like, they've just been blowing those games out of the park for all of those remakes they've been doing. They've all been super fantastic.
Well, on the heels of what, the third or fourth RE4 remake? Yeah, sure.
Well, you know. I mean, a lot of those were just ports.
Sure.
I still remember college, people playing the Wii release. I can't hear the dogs. Or rather, I can't see the dogs. I can only hear them barking. And bear traps everywhere. But I don't know. I really feel like the remaster and remake thing has gone from a cheap ploy to get money out of people who have nostalgia glasses to, wow, this actually is new and impactful. And I'm so happy for that because a lot of that stuff is coming out. And it's inspiring new releases for new games. Like the FF7 remake, remaster, whatever the hell you call it, has inspired a lot of what's going on in FF16. That's exciting. Like, they tried something new, and it was different. A lot of people were pretty apprehensive about it at first, but it's really grown. And I'm kind of proud of them for that. They had a tried and true formula that they knew would work if they continued to do it, and they were trying to be deliberately innovative. And we really need to see more of that kind of thing, because JRPGs in the 90s were all the same, minus the story.
What? No.
Okay, fine, you had a job system once in a while, but it's da 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 da. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it, and it's classic and it's lovely, and I adore it, but going from NES to SNES, things didn't really change a whole lot at first. Like, FF3 was a technological marvel on the NES, and FF4 really felt like an early 90s game.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to get into Mystic Quest. I want to see a remaster of that game. Like, I legitimately love that game. But anyway, rambling. I am getting way too impassioned on this, but I am, to recap, looking so forward to the things that are coming out. I haven't been exposed to them as much because I've been dying, but I'm going to get back to streaming. I am really excited to become more aware of what's going on, because obviously it's really exciting to me, and I like adding my insight. That's kind of the point of the show. Just realize I'm talking through the news section and doing this, but when else are we going to? So, oh boy, lots of really fun stuff.
Ready for tunes? Ready for music? Let's have some music.
Hell
so you
yeah!
Don't have to listen to us jaw all the time.
Okay, so to keep jawing,
we're almost there. Come on.
This is the first time I've ever had a music section that had 2 artist names that were 3 digits.
You know, I saw that. I'm just like, I had to look twice at it. I'm just like, wait, this can't. Oh no, it is.
It is. So they're bookends on this because we have 3 songs for each section. To start this one off, the first song is going to be Submergence by 744 from Super Metroid, going into The Floor is Lava by Bigoron from Mischief Makers, and ending with Lover's Quarrel by 227 from Fire Emblem Genealogy of the Holy War.
Maybe it was World 5. We got a little meep in there, didn't you? Did you hear the next little bit of the first track of the next segment?
But
Hell
it wasn't
yeah.
like an actual meep.
No, it wasn't. But it was like a little quarter second of our preview of a track. Anyways, we're very good at this after years of practice. We're good at transitions. Okay, on to some what we've been playing since last time a little bit. Like, I hear you talking about Tears of the Kingdom all the time and whatever. You're telling me you didn't play any of that since last time.
Like, I'm legitimately trying to think back and see if I can think of any time that I had my hands on the controller.
It's nothing, huh?
There has to have been something. I don't know. I felt like enriched gaming-wise this last month. Probably because Vlad's been playing a whole lot of stuff. Like, there's been a little Tears of the Kingdom, which I still think is fantastic. I really want him to go into the depths again. That was neat. God, what the hell else? Dead Cells. Played a little of that. That was actually really cool.
You played it?
I did not.
Oh.
No, he did.
Oh,
it actually looks approachable for me though.
Okay. Yeah.
And like it kind of reminded me of, and I know this is going to be really far out, but like watching it reminded me of Symphony of the Night a little bit.
Okay. No, you're not that far off.
Okay, cool.
Especially with the Castlevania DLC for it, you're definitely not that far off.
Oh, I didn't even know there was DLC.
Oh yeah, that was their big thing, was the whole Konami let us do things with the Castlevania IP, and it's very good. It's very extremely good.
Okay. Seems good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now I need to know.
Mm-hmm.
Just been other stuff. Cassette Beasts was a game that he started that looked pretty cool. We struggled to figure out how to get the multiplayer to work. Because that was a recent addition.
Oh.
It's really dumb, actually. Like, you have to, like, have the menu open in the game where it prompts you to push the button.
Okay.
You have to turn off the controller that you want to join, and then turn it on, and then it works.
Uh-huh.
It's really jank.
Yeah, it feels like that could use a bit of work.
But we got it working, and then subsequently did not play it together.
You spent all the time trying to get it to work. And
yeah.
No,
I mean, honestly, a large part of this month has just been PC part. Oh no.
Yeah. I get it.
But I have ideas of what I want to do. Obviously, I want to go into FF6. I keep having the music from various games stuck in my head. And I know I need to finish Octopath Traveler. I keep talking about Project Triangle Strategy. Honestly, this is probably the time to buy it too, because it's probably on sale. But I don't know. I keep wanting to play JRPGs. And then I'm reminded constantly, thank you, everybody with Super Animal Royale. Season 8 was a thing that happened, and apparently now there's this like SeaWorld thing. I don't know. I haven't played for 2 years. So
you've missed at least like 4 or 5 seasons by now, I guess.
Actually potentially more.
Honestly, I don't know. I'm just taking a wild ass guess because I'm not into like the season based content releases.
I mean, I don't know. They have a cool series or a system where you can like choose which pass to work on.
Interesting.
And you don't have to like pay money or whatever to go back to it. It's all free.
Huh.
So yeah. At least it was. I don't know if it is these days, but game-wise, like, I continue to be impressed with the stuff that's available on Game Pass. Oh yeah, FTL. That's been a thing. We are getting so close to finishing the achievement to get the stasis pod and actually get to the rock homeworld to bring the crystal person there. We get 2/3 of the way, and then we just don't hit a rock homeworld to take the warp. And this has happened like 3 times in the last week. Like, it's a rare event. So we'll get it sometime. Just did a completion on easy. That was pretty rad. I always enjoy watching FTL. Like, Ben Prunty. You just can't go wrong. Like, the rock sector music is always in my head. It's probably my favorite of the entire soundtrack. So, trying to think of what else had been played. I don't. Oh, that's not true. I played some Tetris. I did play one thing.
See?
Okay, so that night that I went over to Eon's place to sell equipment, I was sat down on the cabinet to play Tetris for a while. And I did bizarrely well. Like, the last time I played was also at her house several months prior. Okay. And I was, like, struggling to get S2s and whatnot. I was almost at S6, which is really good for me. And was in 20G for a while, but I ended up starting that series really high up in the well, so I couldn't really keep it going. But, of course, it made me want to play more, which also reminded me that Tetris the Grandmaster and Tetris the Absolute, the Grandmaster 2 Plus, are both released on PS4 and Switch, or I think $10 each. And allegedly, there is only a frame or two of input delay compared to PCB. Allegedly. I haven't played it yet. It seems like it would be a lot more accessible instead of me sitting down and using my CRT and whatever. But I mean, like, it's there, and I have the hardware and the actual boards. So, yeah, there's a desire to play that again. So, Tetris is probably going to be one of those, like, if I just don't have the energy to play something specific, I'm just going to have that be my gutter option as always, because I can always just grind Tetris. So there was some interest in trying 40 line again.
But
the tips of my thumbs already hurt thinking about it.
Ah, I see.
Like, just death gripping the Super Nintendo D-pad. Not a good time. I tried using the GameCube controller and the Game Boy Advance because you could plug it in.
Okay.
Nah, not big enough D-pads.
But yeah, the GameCube controller I can see probably being worse.
Yeah, it
than the
honestly
SNES
was.
Controller.
Yeah.
I don't know about the GBA. I felt like that GBA D-pad was pretty good.
It was,
For
but it's
what
like
it had to do.
I don't know, it's wider than I was used to, so I was just kind of fumbling a little bit.
Okay.
And I had the OG Advance, so it was wide and awkward to hold.
Yeah, it's one of the non-clamshell variants.
Yeah, it was what they call it, candy bar form factor in terms of phones. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
that's a good question. I don't know.
40 line is the thing. Tetris DX. Pasta Amore. I had to remember it. Type B music. Come on, can't go wrong. I have a lot of plans for games. I need to actually play the games. I am continually impressed by the stuff I see. Like, I've actually been fairly engaged with the things that Vlad's been playing. Dead Cells looks really cool. Like, I really think I should play that at some point. I want to go back and play Slay the Spire a little bit. I would like a game that kind of does something similar to that modernizes it a little bit, maybe is a little more extensible. Something that isn't written in Java.
Slay the Spire has quite a few mods, as I understand.
It does.
Yeah.
There are some that I haven't tried yet. I really want to play as the boss monsters.
There you go. Yeah,
That would be cool. But Slay the Spire is another one of those things that Tom got me into, and it's turn your brain off and play kind of stuff. My interest is growing. You know what I'm talking about.
Sounds like you just need more peer pressure.
I think so.
To play
actually,
games. Play games.
Archipelago, though.
There you go. See? Well, I mean, the Slay the Spire AP mod, so far as I understand it, is kind of busted right now. So that's probably a no-go. But
really?
Yeah.
What'd they do to break it?
I don't know. You'd have to ask Tom.
Hey, Tom! You're telling me about this game-breaking bug and also Time Spinner. I've never heard of that one.
Otherwise, you could play Time Spinner, you could play LTTP, you could play FF1, you could play Z1R. Z1R is an AP now.
It has been a hot minute since I played anything Zelda 1 related.
See, there you go.
The last time I played Zelda 1 was from the leaked cartridge that got stolen from a trade show before it was released. And you get to like midway through level 7 and it stops.
Oh, goody.
Like
Yeah.
you get to the end of the dungeon and there's nowhere else to go. Honestly, it was really interesting. Go play that. The beta for that game is actually really interesting. That's the kind of stuff I like. I like the stuff that you're not supposed to see. You're not supposed to be able to play betas. You're not supposed to be able to play like things like BS Zelda because they had timers on them and things like that.
Yeah.
Just all that kind of weird esoteric bullshit is really interesting to me. All right. I should play games.
You should play games. Play more games.
I want to do something Archipelago related, but I want to do it like Babby's first Archipelago that he doesn't drop out of.
There's like 45 things to choose from there. I'm sure you could find one.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like instead of being a part of the like
And you can
905 game thing that takes 7 months to play, I just want something that's like a weekend.
That would be impressive, honestly. We're not quite there yet.
Okay, that's fair. But the interest is there. I have so many ideas on what I'd like to stream. I really do want to collaborate with people more though. So, rambling aside, you've been playing a bunch of things. It is literally your not job, but
yes,
kind of is.
It is my hobby. It is the thing I enjoy doing. So why not do it, right? Also play games. Yeah. So streaming wise, I'm still playing Darkest Dungeon 2.
Nice.
I'm still stalled on the second of 5 segments. I still cannot beat the second boss of that segment. I am getting frustrated with the RNG of Darkest Dungeon 2. It's still fun though. Like I'm gonna try my best, at least on stream, to get through the second boss and probably then relegate it to long play because it's been now 7 weeks. And it's getting frustrating.
Okay,
It's
so
getting
weren't you
frustrating.
just telling me last time that it was a more forgiving game?
It is. See, that's kind of the frustrating bit of it.
Okay.
It's like you
Go on.
it's more roguelite with a T than roguelike with a K.
Right.
You build up your party, you can give them permanent upgrades and stuff like that. It's a lot faster turnaround, and you don't have to be worried about once someone dies, they're gone forever.
Okay.
They just come back the next run if you choose them, right? That's why it's so damn frustrating that I can't beat the second segment, because the party comps that I put together are pretty nice and cool,
Okay.
and then RNG decides to just take a giant old shit, and you can't get any further. And I'm annoyed.
So, like,
I'm very annoyed.
Are you... Obviously, you're progression locked, but, like, is there anything you can go back to that would help?
Like
I don't know what the progression of the game looks like.
I could grind up the currency or whatever it's called, candles,
Okay.
to do the permanent upgrades and stuff. But I'm already like 3/4 of the way through a lot of the trees for all of this.
So you would think that, like,
I shouldn't be stalled here, but I am.
But what if there's more tree after the tree?
There very well could be. Who knows?
I don't know. Like, okay.
And I feel like I'm past the point where I'm not making dumb decisions that are stalling me out anymore. It's just very, like, you get so far and then there's either one very bad turn that you have or one very bad battle that torpedoes the entire thing. And it's like, man, I shouldn't be getting like walled here. This should not happen. But whatever. Yeah. It's okay. I'll keep streaming it until I pass the second boss. Then I'll be like, all right, that's enough of that. Let's play a new game.
I thought you were going to say stream until you pass out.
No, I'm not doing that. Not doing that anymore.
Well, marathons.
Right. SBC side of things, our shmup for month of July is Side Battler. It's an arcade. I guess it's a shmup. It's a vertical shmup.
Cool.
But you can move. You can move in any direction. You can shoot in any direction in 8 ways, which is kind of unique and cool. It's very hateful. It does not want you to succeed. There are certain bosses that are just inscrutable. I guess is the good word for it. But people seem to be having fun with it, and there's the battle for the high scores. So that's the whole point of the whole thing, right?
Okay.
Hmm.
You made me think of a mechanic that I have not seen in a shmup yet.
Okay.
You mentioned that you can go in any direction.
Uh-huh.
Are there any shmups that allow you to go between layers of, like, foreground and background and stuff?
Move between layers? I don't think I've seen something like that. Shoot different layers? Yes, absolutely.
Interesting. Okay. That might be an interesting thing to maybe make an ad hoc about sometime. If we somehow... Is that even an option for genre?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I've never seen one. Huh.
If it has, it's probably been comboed with other things that make it too easy and we skip it. Maybe?
Probably. I just...
Sounds like something we would do.
Okay. Well, an idea for later.
Yeah, right. Right. And now my long plays, I've been playing a lot of Noita.
Okay.
So let me tell you about Noita.
Uh-huh.
So, first of all, I had my first multi-session run these past 2 Sundays.
Okay.
That was interesting. I survived long enough such that it exceeded my 2-ish hour stream time. So I had to save and quit on Noita, which is just unfathomable to me sometimes.
Okay.
Because usually most runs are like 5-10 minutes and I get blasted by something and oops, so well.
Yep.
Should have seen that one coming, fucker. But that's what happens. So there's also a streamer mode for Noita, which is very interesting.
Okay.
The folks watching can vote on certain things to happen, and they can be good or they can be bad.
I see. Okay.
So in this magical multi-session run that I had, people were being very nice and giving me like max health upgrades and healing stuff and all that. So that definitely helped. And I had a very good singular wand that was essentially a death laser that did damage to everything and a lot of it and very quickly.
Nice.
Until I hit areas where the enemies ignored that type of damage. And then I was like, well, guess I'll die.
Yep. No more easy button for you.
Yeah, no.
So
it was fun. It was fun.
I'm curious, like, how does the audience interaction work? Is there like a cooldown? Like, okay.
So it's configurable. You can set it to kick off every now and again, and then you wait until et cetera, and then it gives you a set of 4 options to pick from. You say 1, 2, 3, 4 in chat or whatever, and then that thing happens. And yeah, it can be very interesting because if you're in the middle of something and you don't see what's about to happen, it's can be a little startling depending on what is the thing that happens to be happening. I know it's fun. I don't think I'm probably gonna put Noida aside for long play for a while because it's been a hot moment, and I feel like after that multi-session run, it's just like, yeah, let's go out on a good note and just do something else for a while. So see what happens.
What are the candidates?
I don't know. Like that's the whole thing. Actually, Darkest Dungeon 2 might be a candidate for a long play for a while.
Cool.
After I get past the second boss.
Okay.
And then I've got a list of them somewhere that I want to go back to.
Sure.
Dead Cells was a strong long play for a while, especially with the Castlevania DLC that we were just discussing. Yeah, we were just discussing.
Yep.
I didn't remember if it was between whilst the music was playing or now, but it was now. Okay, but outside of all of that, our async is still running, our async multi-world. This is the largest we've ever done so far. 20 people, like actual human people. 170 worlds. Very many worlds. Our target completion date is supposed to be in 2 days, this Sunday. But we're only at about 100 of the 170 complete. So I don't think we're going to hit that, which is fine. We leave it go until we're done or we get sick of it or whatever it happens to be. But that's fun. That's fun and cool. So amongst those, I've been playing Link to the Past and Risk of Rain 2 and Final Fantasy. I've 4 of my 9 are complete.
Cool.
Which is, okay, fine, whatever. I can complete another 2, I believe. And then the other 3 are still waiting on something. I don't remember what, but I'm waiting on one thing in each of those. But we're getting to the end of it, so that's good to see progress and people are still working at it. And then I've been playing a lot of Tears of the Kingdom, actually.
Okay. I was kind of waiting for that because you did buy it.
I did buy it when it was back to normal price, and not the 70 that people think they can get away with charging now. And I, like you, am very impressed with what they've done with it. From a technical standpoint, the draw distances. How did they do that? Like they're LODing the hell out of it. Obviously, level of detail. When you zoom in on a far off place, like obviously there's stuff they're taking out, but it's just very impressive what they've been able to do with that draw distance. I'm not as keen on the story, I think. But I haven't really done a lot of the main story yet either, because I get distracted by side bits a lot.
That's what we've been doing.
Yeah, because you're like, okay, I'm gonna go for this objective here. I've got a clear path, and oh, what's that over there?
Yeah.
And then you get to that over there, and there's like, oh, what's that over there? And then okay, yep. And then there's, oh, that looks suspicious. Let's go check that out. And then suddenly 3 hours have passed, and it's time to go to bed, and you haven't done anything towards the objective that you wanted to do.
So, Hyrule's version of squirrels is bokoblins.
Yeah.
And
Koroks and oddly placed rocks and caves and
yes, the caves. The caves are so cool, and the wells. Those are nice too. Okay, so I'm gonna blow your mind.
Oh no.
This only came up in random esoteric reading about like the the goings-on behind the engine in the game, with such information as when you do your little, I don't remember the name of the power, crap, the thing where you go through the ceiling.
Oh, the Ascend.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The entire world is removed and is replaced by a green block. The entire world.
Interesting. Okay.
So I thought that was really cool, actually.
That tracks, yeah.
Which has made me want to go to the depths and find a place where I could just go up for a long time, and I want to see what that's like. Please tell me it's possible. I want to see it.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm curious if that is possible.
So that's interesting. There is, the thing that I was actually really excited for. This is similar to 2 games that you've played, and I'm going to tell you what they are because you can probably draw the similarity. The first game is Radical Dreamers.
Okay.
So that was the Satellaview,
right? The text-based adventure.
Thing.
You can imagine in your head what's going on. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. The second is Zelda 2.
Okay.
Obviously, the third is Tears of the Kingdom.
Right.
There is a similarity that binds them all, and I think it's really cool.
Interesting. Okay. I guess I can see a little bit of that, yeah. Like, okay. So story-wise, I think I am less compelled by it because Zelda's gone again. Spoilers, sorry.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, that's a similarity with Z2.
Right. Because, Breath of the Wild, brand new format, brand new adventure, whatever. Zelda's gone. Wow, what a shock. Tears of the Kingdom opens up, and it's just like, oh shit, Zelda's with us. We're fucking having an adventure together. And then,
okay.
Damn it.
I knew some shit was up when you started with 20 hearts.
Mm-hmm. Well, naturally, right?
This is Rise of the Sinistrals. Okay.
To their credit, the way they managed to do the whole Metroid back to square one thing, that was clever. I like that. Yeah, that was very neat and cool.
Yep.
The fact that Zelda disappears again was kind of like, come on.
God damn it.
Really? This is Peach levels of bullshit now. Come on.
Okay, but can you blame her?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Exactly. So it's man, that's annoying. And I felt like the opening sequence, the tutorial area of Tears of the Kingdom was a little bit less compelling than Botwa.
Yes. That's a I maybe don't want to go through the beginning of the game again.
Yeah. And honestly, my fears from the beginning were kind of that Tears of the Kingdom was going to be to Breath of the Wild like Majora's Mask was to Ocarina of Time for me. Because I did not like Majora's Mask at all. It was just not a thing I was into.
Yeah.
And I was worried about this second major Zelda release along the same kind of lines on the same platform and all this. It was just going to be more of the same, but not quite as good.
Yeah.
But I still like I like it. I like Tears of the Kingdom. It's been doing great. It's I recognize little landmarks from the previous game. Mm-hmm. It's the same-ish map so far as I understand. Which is cool, which is good. It has not fallen into that trap yet, which is good. I hate that they have weapon durability on steroids now. I don't like that things break every damn time.
Yeah,
they could have done with if not gotten rid of it entirely, they could have toned it down a bit.
I think the intent is for you to fuse more,
right?
Because it does give you much more durability.
Mm-hmm. And which, sure, okay, fine, whatever, but still,
I get you though.
They could have not done that. I do like the hand powers more than the tablet powers from Botwa. I think those work better as a set than the other ones did.
Yeah. That's fair.
I super like that you can throw everything.
Yes.
That you can throw materials and stuff. That's cool.
Uh-huh.
That makes me happy. Um, since that essentially gives you normal ass bombs that actually do something instead of the weirdo whatever bombs they had in Batwa that didn't do shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, bomb arrows, primo.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta say,
Mm-hmm.
primo.
Good
Um,
stuff.
there's just so much more to explore with bombs now.
Right? Yeah.
Like, we're back to the Zelda of yore, where anything that looks like a possible crack in a wall needs to be exploded. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's so satisfying when you
It's good
actually find
stuff.
something. Have you pondered what the similarities between the three might be yet?
I've tried. I haven't come up with anything like aha.
Okay. So, okay, Radical Dreamers is kind of a stretch. So, there are numbers being concealed from you
Mm.
that impact the gameplay. And the similarity with Z2 is that there's an XP system. And the XP system determines the quantity and quality of the enemies that you see. I was wondering why the fuck we kept seeing like silver everythings, but Vlad was finding ways to kill things and mostly not die, and they just didn't stop coming. It turns out the better you do, the harder things are, the better drops you get, that kind of thing. So there is a hidden XP value based on like your streak of kills. And I really like that they did that instead of, oh look, it's another camp of red bokoblins. Hooray! Yeah.
Yeah.
So just keep your eye out for that. And you may notice some things. Like, I know it's a little more nuanced than that, but by and large, that's the most obvious effect.
Well, now that you say that, that makes a lot more sense why I got ambushed by a Lionel once. Just out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
While I was in the depths.
Oh.
And it just
Spoilers.
sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah. But I just appeared and I ran and I got away, which is good, but I was just like, where the fuck were you, man? What are you doing?
Okay. There is one thing that we have yet to figure out. And I know it's just going to happen as a part of playing the game. And God damn, the blobs of gloom shit. Terrifying fuckers.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to mention what I discovered with that.
It's all good. Do not. However, that actually managed to stress me out.
Oh, yeah. No, they're freaky. Like, it's
like
good to run from those.
We found a shrine and did not anticipate having to run for our lives to climb up the side of a cliff in order to not die on the opposite side of where the shrine is. Fuck. And throwing bombs at it did jack shit. So, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I really, really want to get eyes on that game some more. I understand that Vlad likes to kind of like have a variety of things that he plays. And I am very much of a, this has finally gripped me, I want more. So it's been a little challenging.
See, you could play games.
I could, but that would imply that it would have to be good.
You get the control. You don't have to be good. You don't have to be good.
Hey. I will consider it. I am really interested in Tears of the Kingdom because it is... Oh my god. No. Brain. I know you didn't intend a pun, but it was bad. It was a breath of fresh air.
I see.
Yeah.
Good job.
In any case, if we do manage to get this thing running on PC, I won't feel compelled to use the thing that burns my hands because it gets so hot. Yeah. And maybe I'll play that on the Steam Deck.
I mean, it's not going to be any worse than the Switch by a wide margin. So,
Yeah.
why not? Oh, actually, interesting tidbit about Tears of the Kingdom. This is the game I determined that my now original Switch Joy-Cons are starting to drift too.
Okay.
Which is not a good game to have drifty Joy-Cons when you're sneaking around.
Yeah.
Or at the precipice of a very large cliff.
Okay. So, remember that one time during Insert Marathon here that we were all trying to play Mario Kart together?
Yes.
And it just would not.
Mm-hmm.
We're running into the same problem now.
Oh, goody.
Like, 4 feet away, it drops connections and inputs, and suddenly, oh god, we're dead.
Ouch. Yeah.
It's really frustrating.
Yeah.
Like, it uses Bluetooth. I don't know what shit-ass Bluetooth it's using, but it's awful. I'm considering moving the dock so that it's more in line of sight. It's bad. It's really bad.
Yeah.
So, Vlad really likes playing on Joy-Cons for some reason. I don't understand it. The one thing I do understand is that the buttons and the D-pad on the Pro Controller are mushy. They're not very good feeling-wise. That said, it's really tempting to get a USB controller for the purpose of being able to sit in the middle of the couch instead of on the left side next to the dock. So, pondering that. It's a thought. That's also the advantage of playing on emulators. You can use whatever the fuck controller you want.
I can think of 2 alternate controllers that work very well, both of which I have.
Okay.
The one I just bought, it's a GuliKit King Kong 2 Pro or whatever.
Okay.
Excellent. Excellent controller. It's got the Hall effect field joysticks.
Oh, send me a link.
Yeah. Very good. The other one is a Retro Fighters, what they call it. It was the designed to be the GameCube style whatever controller.
Really?
Yep.
I didn't know they did one like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I remember having the decent-ish quality N64 one.
Sure. Which, yeah, I like that one too, very much. The only thing I don't like about that one is the analogs are aligned on the same line on the bottom, which is very weird for me because I'm used to the kind of the offset.
Yeah.
The one on the left being up
so
higher
it's
and the one on the
PlayStation
right.
style.
Yeah, like that.
Interesting.
It's very like,
okay.
It doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
If you're playing Tatka, it doesn't matter. Like, they don't use it's not a second stick on there, I don't think, usually. So, I don't know. Both of them seem to work okay. Pretty good anyways, so. For me, it's great. It's good timing to have both of those since my Joy-Cons are starting to drift and I'm not going to play Tatka with those.
That is fair. Granted, it's with the grip, but still.
Yeah. Right. But, yeah. Anyways, that's all I've been playing. I'm glad we got off into that tangent about Tears of the Kingdom being a very good game, because it is.
It's fantastic.
I did one of the 4, presumably, one of the 4 major things. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And have not.
Okay.
Unaware.
All right. One of the major objectives, presumably, but you never quite know because the weird division between quests they've got going on.
Yeah. I have some theories.
After like 35-ish hours of fucking around on side things, yeah, it's very much of if you don't have a very clear goal in mind and you want to do it within a reasonable time span, you're probably not going to get it done.
Fair.
Oh well. But that's what Breath of the Wild was for me too. It's like, holy shit, it's a brand new experience. I want to go here and here and here and here. And, I will say that they have improved their mapping and marking abilities significantly in Tears of the Kingdom, which is great.
We have been using that a ton.
Yes, that is so good to have that, to be like, hey, okay, I know this thing over here. I'm going to go get that later.
Yep.
Let's drop a pin and mark it, and I'll come back.
We have been marking every pot so we know we can go back and cook emergency food because...
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Using those materials a lot more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Recipes, though. Big thumbs up.
Yes. Big thumbs up to that, to not having to try to remember what the hell you did.
Yep.
Anyways, yeah, I could talk about this for a while, and we shouldn't because it's already getting kind of late. We've got another segment to do. But we've got some more tunes coming up. Can we go to tunes, or do we want to? Okay, very good.
Good to go.
First up, a remix from Biohazard Battle entitled Pathogen Zero by Parker Walker. Then into a remix from Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards, entitled The Last Dead Angel by Eric McClure. And then finally a remix from Celeste entitled Courage in the Dark by Rebecca E. Tripp. All right. Coming up to the final segment of the night, some design, and apparently the first thing that got pulled up when we loaded our little thing, which we can't use because we are principled people, is benign.
That's what I described it as.
Yeah, so let's hear how benign this is, since we like to hear what we're not going to be able to use.
Okay, so one each of genre, rule, setting, and theme, and I will take this opportunity to remind people that we are using Let's Make a Game.
Let's game a make.
I don't know. Oh, God, it's like trying to build from source.
No, you're right though.
Let's Make a Game.net. We are using the game idea generator on that website. It has been hilarious and terrible. But we make things with it, and sometimes they're not porn.
Sometimes. Only sometimes.
I will say it every time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Hey, look, sometimes you just gotta make erotica, okay?
Yeah.
Like this is the Porn Shop exit episode. We didn't even talk about the title! Did we?
Okay. So, thank you for getting me on that tangent.
You're welcome.
I am pulling up the thing I typed earlier because it's a fantastic script for me to go off of.
Oh, no.
So, how website do work thing. Okay. Cool. Found it. Great. 113 is a very special number for us Wisconsinites. Drive on Interstate 41 and you'll come across exit 113 near Oshkosh and Rosendale. And nestled in that interchange is a porn shop. With all of my travels back and forth through Wisconsin, over time it has become, affectionately, known as the Porn Shop exit. And that's the name of this month's episode.
There we go.
There you go. That's how we sold it this time. Affectionately.
Incredible.
Ooh, woo. All right, cool. So, moving hastily along. So, let's make a game. It will spit out usually one or two each of genres, rules, settings, and themes. This time, with the initial page load, it loaded one of each, which is typical for it. So, the genre for this role is real-time strategy. Oh boy.
Okay.
The rule is don't stop moving, which it's RTS. That's kind of a thing.
Sure.
The setting is superhero. Oh, it's not sword and sorcery. And the theme is lost love.
Yeah. Yeah, it's bland.
Yeah.
Pretty bland.
It makes me think of what if Superman were more boring?
Oh. I guess it's better than Superman being an asshole. Isn't that Superman 3? I think it's Superman 3 where he's kind of a dick.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or was that the one where he got drunk? I don't remember. Maybe both. Could have been both.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, so we can't use that one, which is fine because it was not great to begin with. So
okay, so Marty completely derailed me. Oh
no.
I'm going to say 6 words. They will make someone out there cackle. Shackled by Jesus, lust sets free. Moving hastily along.
Oh no.
So, the initial page load was really boring. This time, we're pushing the generate button, and it becomes the first thing that we are eligible to use. The way this works is we can have potentially 3 different options. Once we choose to skip any, we can't go back to those in the end, or previous words are hard. We can't go back to previous rolls. Once we're at roll 3, we're doing roll 3. No choice.
No choice.
If it's erotica,
then it's erotica.
Porn shops be damned. Okay.
Then we make it work. Okay, so roll 1.
I pushed the button. All right, one of each. Genre is adventure.
Okay.
The rule is you must leave it behind. The setting is steampunk. And the theme is good versus evil. Yeah.
I'm not really feeling that at all. Like that's not more bland than whatever it was before, but that's still pretty bland.
My game idea for this one is you are in a steampunk world, big shock, using your various locomotive methods, requires fuel of some sort. Of course, with it being the steampunky world, it's driven by crystals. Those crystals are fuel. You must leave them behind. It is the standard JRPG. Or, what game does this remind me of? Oh yeah, Final Fantasy 12. Yeah, moving hastily along.
Yeah, no. We're not doing that one.
Oh no.
Uh-oh. I don't like that opening.
One of each. The genre, I'm saving that for last. Never mind.
Okay.
The rule is death is good.
All right.
The setting is Utopia. Uh-huh. So it's already dark because...
Yeah.
Yeah, uh-huh. And the theme is revenge.
Huh.
And the thing that fucks it all up, the genre, sport management.
No! Oh, no! Why, though?
It's so bad.
Oh,
It was so good until
it really
then.
was.
It was so good.
Sport management?
I'm not kidding. It
Oh,
says it
gross.
right there.
Oh, let's
Ugh.
make a game.net, you tease.
So,
Utopia, this is good. Utopia Revenge. It does torpedo the whole thing. I hate it.
Yep. So
we're down to roll 3 again, huh?
And it happened so quickly.
It really did. Like we didn't need to debate any of these because they were just not good.
They were objectively terrible.
They were objectively terrible.
Okay.
All right.
So,
well,
the game for the night.
Shit.
Oh no.
Did we make a bad choice? We made a bad choice.
One of each again.
Okay.
Oh, God. Okay. The genre is farming.
Oh no.
It gets better. Worse. Whatever. The rule is side effects.
Okay. Okay. I'll get with that one.
The setting is virtual reality.
Oh no.
And the theme is prejudice.
Oh!
It's so terrible.
What in the world?
We got some real shit tonight.
Learning side effects, virtual reality, and prejudice?
Yes!
What the fuck?
No lie.
What the
This is
fuck,
what it
man?
rolled. Oh, goodness.
They must have added some stuff since last time, because I don't remember... Okay, virtual reality I remember once. But not farming side effects or prejudice.
Yeah, so my suspicion is that they saw this traffic from this particular IP address once a month getting real frisky with the refresh button, and yeah, we did something
or
bad.
maybe that one particular month when you kept going through names.
Okay, so there are other generators on this website, and they are amazing, and you just reminded me of them, and this is your fault. So,
well, we might actually need it for this one because, jeez.
Yeah, that's
Farming, side effects, virtual reality, and prejudice.
Uh-huh.
What in the world?
So, I have some ideas.
Okay.
So,
because I'm kind of with this one until farming.
I can make that work.
Oh. Okay, well, let's hear it, because, oh boy, that is a mix of things.
Actually, oh shit, this ties all four of them together. This is interesting. Okay, hear me out.
Okay.
So, we're at a crossroads in basically society. We've gotten far enough in the future that technology has started to afford more technologically involved methods of farming. We're starting to see this now, actually, because there's this there's this emergence, I guess, of using drones to kill weeds and bugs instead of using pesticide.
Okay.
Obviously, some of these are AI-driven, question mark. I'm not sure. They have some sort of intelligence that they use. Some are manned and intentionally used in that way. So,
Okay.
This could build on that, and instead of having farmers necessarily be on the fields all the time, they could use VR to do their work. And this is a schism because it is a major departure from the identity of, we'll even call it America. Like the breadbasket of America, the Midwest, you have very particular methods that are passed down by generations,
Right.
including the homesteads and whatnot.
You know,
So
traditional, you work the land, you produce your stuff. It's a very human effort, right?
yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So then comes this technological revolution that would allow farmers to be able to use virtual reality to tend to a lot of these issues. It would save them a lot of the effort that would degrade their bodies and make them not able to produce as much. Capitalism, ahoy. There's obviously, as I mentioned, a schism between the philosophies of how you're intended to tend the land. So you have the traditionalists, which are you put the blood, sweat, and tears into this effort yourself. You're paying the earth back for what you take from it, versus the using all of these modern tools and removing the human element from things. There's obviously prejudice going on between the two parties. This is a major sticking point, and it's causing problems to the degree of people raising other people's farms because they disagree with how they tend to them.
I see.
And it's impacting the world because food production is being slammed because of these major changes. All four of these things have been used in just that idea. For farming, the side effects of using VR are people infighting. Obviously, virtual reality is in the whole concept. And then prejudice is people having different ideas and not agreeing with each other and not finding common ground. Ooh.
Okay.
That's a title. Common Ground.
Common Ground. That is a very good title, yes.
So,
Common Ground.
That's my best effort at, like, putting the shit in a ball and trying to make something of it.
No, that's good. I would posit then another side effect of all the VR and technological control is that humans are no longer using their bodies nearly as much. They start to decay, wither away, atrophy, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And suddenly you're, hi, thin ass white guy here, that has a desk job and sits down a bunch. That they start like they're weak, physically weak now, and weakened, and then future generations obviously inherit that and get to a time where suddenly the traditional methods are very skewed or considered a weirdo microcosm departure from a time when suddenly we have all this technology, we can do all this, and did we really do it like that before? And yeah, we did, but now we don't. Because of all this. Yeah, no, I get you.
So I think another side effect of this is that these traditional methods that are being forgotten are the product of thousands of years of knowledge being handed down. Suddenly you have people who are not of that lineage, who are not privy to all of those skills and know all of the very particular nuances of tending to the land, that they're at a lower aptitude for actually doing the job because they don't have that familiarity with having been taught by somebody else, being out there looking at those plants in the ground and figuring out the right ways to remediate situations. Instead, a lot is going to waste because, oh, well, it's dead. Better raise the field and start over again. Like, production's down. It's become even more commoditized than it already is. And while it's easier, it is dramatically less effective. It's causing infighting between these communities. And it's causing people to starve. Because crops being destroyed, they're not being properly tended by this VR method, and what was supposed to enable farmers to improve their outputs and perhaps keep their land healthier, instead, it's making it terrible.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So how do we make all that into a game now? Okay. So at the start, we've got kind of these two different choices, right? We can either stick to the conventional, the traditional, work the land as a normal human meat bag would, or lean into the highly technological side of things. Ostensibly, you get the benefit of being able to oversee, X number more fields or area or whatever because of these technological advancements. But then the two sides start to conflict.
I have an interesting proposition, we'll say.
Okay.
So this feels both like it's something that would benefit from getting the player actually able to see the effects of what's going on and witness firsthand this is incredibly wasteful and it's destroying the land, or it's being destructive, or it's not being careful enough, whatever. The player needs to be able to actually see what the effects of this are so they can build some empathy with what's going on. It needs to be a narrative. At the same time, they have to be an active participant in some way. And my thought was that you would almost have to have it be open world in some respects, so that you could go around and explore and see how the land is changing over time.
Okay.
But you also have to choose which side to participate in. And that kind of makes me think of something like Red Dead Redemption. You can choose to behave in a certain way, and the game changes because of that. And ultimately, it goes the way it goes because of the choices you've made.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess using RDR as an example, of course, that's obviously something that's pretty close to the land. There's not much technology there, that kind of thing. But there was such an emphasis on making the land real that I think you would absolutely have to capture for this concept to make it viable and engaging. Because if you don't have that extremely organic feel to the world, the concept is going to feel kind of fake, I guess.
It kind of becomes more of a simulation game too, right?
Right.
Here are the decisions you've made. Here's the results of them. Now what do you do? Like, do you continue to lean into one side or another? Or do you take certain mitigations to bring it back to balanced, or etc.?
Yeah. So, if you were to distill the concept down so far like you just described, that almost feels like it would be a game that would fit on the Apple II.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it feels a lot...
Like,
I don't want to say Oregon Trail-like.
That's actually what I was thinking.
But it's similar enough.
Yeah.
And
take action. Here is results. Blah blah blah. Died of dysentery.
Actually, another parallel that we could think of, at least to be aware of how it could relate, would be Odell Lake.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So in that, you got to choose what kind of fish you were, how you wanted to interact with the ecology around you, and ultimately your decisions made you win or lose or die, or whatever the case is.
Right.
And realistically speaking, that's kind of the same game here. You're choosing how to interact with the land, and if you go about it in a way where you over-harvest the hell out of it and destroy it in the process and keep it from being useful in the future, that's the kind of thing that the game's trying to tell you that, hey, maybe don't. Like, this is a very real and potentially actual future, given the way things are going now. Like, it's as much like education about the warnings for the future as anything, I suppose. And honestly, those games on the Apple II, kind of the same. Like, they were exposing kids to, like, here are some very real world scenarios that existed once upon a time, and
here's what you
maybe
can
learn
do.
something from that.
Here's what the consequences were.
Yeah.
And are. Okay. Yeah, no, I get it. So mechanistically, how do we convey that? What's the is it a discrete choice at the start, or you decide to, embrace the new technology, whatever it happens to be, or proceed with what you've got?
I think that we need to make it in such a way where the traditionalist side isn't infallible, that they still have weaknesses compared to using new technology. And I think the flow of the story would be driven by things like town hall meetings. So you would have these major events that are the result of something happening with the way things are being done. And they get progressively more violent. And ultimately, things erupt as a result of it. And I guess a takeaway from that would be the need... Oh god, the need to find common ground. Okay, well, I wasn't going there with that, but that's where it went.
Title drop.
Yeah, I mean, actually, that... Fuck it. That wraps itself up. That's good enough. Like, ideological differences swell and eventually pour over time. And eventually there comes a realization that both ways have their faults, and that, much like anything else that's existed in human history, a marriage of old and new provides innovation, but also stability. And that's probably the big takeaway.
So the end state isn't necessarily winning, quote unquote. It's maintaining as long as you can.
I mean,
without losing, essentially, right? If you
that really does feel like a win state, though.
Yeah.
Like, if you get to a point where, like, the decisions that you make or the lobbying that you do or whatever the case is, opens people's eyes to a perspective where they're willing to listen, I think that's ultimately the win condition.
This is sustainable versus this is not.
More or less, yeah.
I mean, not as clear as those choices can be, of course. They could be very far down the line where a certain choice you made very early on was perhaps not the best.
Sure.
But not, it's not terminal at that point.
See, I think one of the things that would be an option and probably a good, healthy thing to do would allow the player to admit when they did something that wasn't good. Like, the player can make mistakes, but the player is also given the opportunity to take ownership of those mistakes and argue for I don't know, collective thought on how to move forward healthily into the future, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So I guess it really is, if we frame it like this, a game about breaking down ideological barriers. Honestly. Which feels incredibly prescient, but, you know. Hi.
So find some way to make this amalgamation of new and old, provide this innovation that you were talking about before, while still being able to maintain, obviously, the state of farming, the producing of food to support the community, whatever you happen to be, whatever microcosm of it is that we decide to go with here, and then maintain that, keep it sustainable, keep it rolling after however many time cycles, while also not getting the community at large so pissed off at you that they burn your farm down, kick you out, do any number of other things. Finding common ground, as it were.
As I choke on my own spit, very professional.
Very good. Very good.
Excuse me.
Okay. Okay. I think that's good enough. Like, we don't need to go into the nitty gritty of most of this other stuff that we typically do, because this is very, very much less, not defined necessarily. There's a much less discrete ending to this than most of our previous things.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And well, that's what you get when you got farming, side effects, virtual reality, and prejudice.
Yup.
Ha. Well, good job tying all those together, man. I was drawing a blank on most of it.
I am good at the bullshit. Unintentional pun.
Fertilizer. Yeah. Excellent. Okay, cool. Well, I mean, we've already got the title too, like Common Ground.
Yep.
Common Ground. It's almost like it's a little bit reminiscent of Harvest Moon.
Yeah, I suppose.
But like Harvest Moon was more or less a romance simulator.
Yeah.
Natsume. That was the win condition, wasn't it? To get married and have a kid, right? Wasn't that like the
I have
end?
no idea.
I think some of the later ones did that for sure.
Hooray, progeny!
I remember playing the Game Boy one a bit and not being able to do anything because I don't at that point I didn't understand what the hell was going on.
That is fair.
So, all right, cool. Well, this was one of the more interesting design sessions, I think, considering what we had to subject ourselves to on the third roll. But I'm still pretty glad we didn't pick sport management. Utopia, death is good.
The other thing.
Something. Revenge.
Yes.
That's a weird setup.
It was so good until
it was good until sport management.
Yep.
And then the first one was just kind of blah.
Yeah.
Like, even more blah than like the opening thing that we talked about too.
So, had we not stayed true to the values of insert credits and remained on roll 3, what would we have gotten?
Just for out of curiosity for a roll 4.
Damn. Actually, this is pretty cool. All right, so it's one each. Beat 'em up, running out of power, post-apocalypse, and urban legend.
Oh, shit.
That would have been kind of neat.
That sounds cool.
Yeah. Maybe eventually we'll roll that again.
Maybe. Or we could have just stolen it from ourselves from next time, too. So.
Well, you know.
Well, cool. Well, then we're coming to the end of insert credits here. Anything more we need to impart? Otherwise, we can wrap for tonight.
I think we're probably good to go.
Excellent. Well, thank you once again, everyone, for joining us. I'm Mr.
And I'm Tormod.
I'll leave you with our typical closing track, a remix from Mario Kart Wii entitled Wind in Your Hair by Overclock University. Good night, everybody.
Ciao.